to what extent will we continue discharging greater and greater concentrations of wastewater within the zones of contribution to the town's wealth? Can we continue doing that? That's my question.
Are you referring to, in the suggested answer from him, additional treatment or alternate methods of dumping our effluent?
Well, as you or many of you folks may know, the Ocean Policy Act, which was passed recently, had a provision within it that transferred the authority from coastal zone management to Mass DEP. For the first time, there's the opportunity, under certain circumstances which are now defined in the Act, to allow for a discharge within the ocean sanctuaries. And it's just not Cape Cod. It's for any of the designated ocean sanctuaries. To me, that would be a useful study. Why? Because there are other towns in similar situations that will perhaps be asked to do the same thing in terms of establishing a wastewater treatment plant. And let's face it, we're getting our water from a lens. Some of those lenses are big, like the one that we're sitting on, and some of them are much smaller the further down Cape you go. To what extent can we continue to add wastewater to our drinking water supply in such a way that doesn't pose a continuing public health risk? That would be the question that I would like defined in some way, so that we'd have some basis to move forward to an application to DEP, if we so choose.
Could I ask George for...
Let's face the fact, there are almost there are almost nearly 30 wells in the town of Barnstable. Am I right, Nate? Pretty close.
I think that there were about that many that were identified in the report.
I don't know if anyone has really looked at it from the perspective of, well, of course, consolidation would make so much sense to me. Because it would allow the town to say, this is a town resource for which taxpayers and billers and so forth are all covering costs. Why can't we consolidate and use these other wells for town purposes? The well fields elsewhere are pretty well protected. The Zone 2s in Hyannis, if you read the 1988 report that I helped to author, the Cape Cod Aquifer Management Project, it defined that those Zone 2s, the worst case scenarios in the state. That's why it was chosen for study. So I can conceive the possibility just shutting those systems down. But to do that, you'd have to think about consolidation, and maybe that might be a possibility for the purpose of what we're doing here as well, if an outfall doesn't make sense because of the costs.
I completely agree.
Sure, George. Why don't we take on that, too?
Clarification. When you say discharge into seawater, does that mean that you would take the discharge from the sewer plants and put them into an outfall pipe into the ocean?
Yes. The Act itself is very clear. It provides very strict and very stringent discharge standards that must be met.